Hi and welcome to another Make It Meaningful. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallagher and hopefully you're following this Friday series here at 2Ps. You can do so by subscribing to the 2Ps YouTube channel, or you can find this video series in the videos section in the drop-down menu called Make It Meaningful. So this week we're going to talk about something fun. We're going to talk about including a fun story in your layouts. Now this entire week the Garden Girls have been focusing on storytelling and creative ways to tell the story of something in their layouts. So be sure to check out all of their projects and videos this week so you can see how they're doing that. We're also focusing on me this month, so I am also going to accept that challenge and do another layout about me, but I'm going to do something a little different this week. So one thing that is really hot and you're probably already involved in is social media. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whatever you're using, it is a great way to communicate what's going on in your life. But what's fun about that is that you can then take what you've done and incorporate it right into your scrapbook layouts. And there's a lot of creative ways that you can do that. You can look at everything at your screen and copy and paste it and put it in your layout. You can copy your tweets. You can ask other people to include things about you. You can do a screenshot just of the social media that you're using. You can print out your Instagram photos, millions and millions of ways. So first you're going to have to pick a social media platform, or you can concentrate on more than one. And I want you to think about how can I cleverly incorporate this into a scrapbook layout, because while it is out there and it's in the cyber world, we want to include them in our physical scrapbooks. So this week the challenge is to pick a social media platform that you're following, that you love, where you're kind of telling your story, and it might be in little funny bits, it might be photographs, but find one in which you're already telling your story and find a way to incorporate that into your scrapbook layouts. I'm going to use some of my favorite new products, including some purple, because that is the Pantone color of the year. And I'm going to do a bold color scheme to create a layout about a social media platform that I use frequently. So join in the challenge just by doing your own layout and share with me. You can link me to it in the comments section. If you want to send it to me directly via Pmail, I'd love to see how you've done this creatively. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the layout, I mentioned that I'm going to bring in some of that orchid that is that hot Pantone color this year. And while I was a little reluctant to embrace it, it is a really fun color to work with. So we're going to go ahead and use it today. On the foundation of the layout, I am using an Elle Studio Craft chevron. It's a nice bold chevron. It's offset. It has this charming pattern on the back, but I wanted to work with the craft because the craft is a great neutral and it really makes colors like this purple pop. Now this purple is from Pebbles. Several companies have foundation collections and they are simply meant to coordinate with lots of different things, whether it's their own collections or they're simply introducing colors that are hot this year. So then I wanted to do something creative to show the social media that I'm featuring today, which is Twitter. So I picked two frames. I used some of these frames in the last video that I did last week, so be sure to check that out. But since this particular package comes with so many different frames, I'm going to use it again. If you don't have this particular die cut one, try the chipboard one from the Pier. Any kind of frame like this can be used. I know Elle Studio has some as well. I'll link you to a couple of frame options in the product section at the 2Ps website, so be sure to follow the link below the video to find all the supplies that I use. So I picked an older photo of myself because I don't love having photos taken, which I mentioned last week. I don't always have a lot to choose from, but I tried to pick one where I was in my office since this is about social media. And then what I did is I took a screenshot of some of my recent tweets, ones that were fun, kind of gave a quick view into what I'm up to this year, talking about things that I'm doing. For instance, one of them mentions how January's been a tough year, or it sharing my latest Make It Meaningful project, just some things like that. And I'm going to use another frame. Now, I do have photos obviously in my tweets on the left, however I'm going to cover them with the frame. That allows me to have a font large enough for the actual tweets themselves. So I framed out the tweets. So you can copy and paste ones that are most meaningful to you. You can kind of do a capture right at this second kind of journaling. You could do this for Facebook. You could do a entire sheet of Pinstagram pins you've been pinning, but I wanted to do Twitter. Now to decorate the page, I am going to use a couple of different things. There is an Elle Studio paper that has these fun hexagon shapes, and I fussy cut some of them, and then I'm going to use the border on some of them. Then from the bottom strip of that paper was this very cute little written word strip. And you'll notice that a lot of pattern paper companies are now adding on the back side, on the B side, look for fun little strips. And these are great to add to your projects. You can see that it has the product information on the back. But this is a great way to stretch your supplies, is to find a way to incorporate these. And I'm going to lightly place it down because I want to incorporate some of these fussy cut hexagons. And I actually cut them from the edge of the page. So these half hexagons were actually from the edge of the paper. And then we're going to put them back together like a puzzle. So we'll start by building a foundation of colors. And we'll space them a little bit apart. And then just like putting a puzzle back together, you can add these shapes how they appeared on the paper. And you'll notice that I'm creating just a little bit of a gap in between. And then down here I wanted to do it as well. So I'm going to tuck this one just beneath the giggles word. You can center it however you want. I like to try and center things so that they make sense. And then I wanted to bring in some of that fun purple again. And then that beautiful pink. So you can see, just by fussy cutting shapes from pattern paper, it becomes an embellishment for your page. So I wanted to use, again, this strip. This is what the back side looks like. It's a fun grid. And we'll place this just above the word strip. And I do not cut my papers the same width. This is where I like to play with the eye a little bit and create some different shapes. And from another piece of pattern paper I'm going to use from Amy Tan's Cut and Paste collection, this was another strip at the bottom of the page. And you'll notice that it has the days of the week. And I'm going to cut this one in a pennant shape. Cutting off the triangles. If you don't have strips like this, you can create your own from pattern paper, or you can substitute washi tape for this section, or you can look for a company that already provides border strips, whether it's through stickers or it is a die cut shape. And then finally you can use your Silhouette machine to cut your own. But I like using stuff that's already ready to go. It makes the process so much simpler. All right, I know that I want to slightly overlap the two frames. So go ahead and adhere the social media frame first. Again, you can choose whatever social media you want. I simply wanted to focus on my tweets. And I think it would be good to incorporate all of them at some point, because I don't know about you, but I pin things differently than maybe I Instagram, and I Facebook sometimes things that are different, and it gives a great overview, kind of like the Facebook movies that they've been doing a lot lately. Then I wanted to add a few strips down the left side, and I've pre-cut a few. One is from a collection from Echo Park Paper. Basically, if you cannot find this paper, if it is out of stock, because this is a slightly older collection, look for an interesting craft colored pattern paper. This one has musical notes, and for some of the musical notes there are little hearts instead of just regular shapes. So we'll adhere this down the center, trying to draw attention down to the giggles word. So I'm purposely thinking about how this will work. So this yellow strip down here came from this pink pattern paper. It has hearts on the other side. Again, this is Amy Tan's cute collection. And I chose it because it was in the pink that I wanted to use for this layout. And we'll want to make sure that it's aligned. I'm using the dots to align the pink pattern paper. So now I want to show you a fun tool that I've discovered that I'm really enjoying right now, and that are these roller stamps from Glitz Designs. And there's a few different ones in the store, and I do believe they're on sale. And they are so much fun to use, and I want to show you how you can use these to create some definition and some detail on your page. So the first thing you're going to do is clean off your stamp. And I do this just using a baby wipe. There are also stamp cleaning sprays. Just make sure that you clean off whatever ink you used previously, and they clean up really well depending on the ink that you use. Some inks will stain your stamp permanently, but it doesn't mean that you will stamp that color every time. It just, for some reason, stains the rubber. So once you've cleaned the entire stamp, you need to let it dry. And then you're going to need a stamp pad that is a little bit larger. So sometimes the little small stamping spots won't work as well for this particular technique. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to roll the stamp lots of times over that stamp pad, making sure that you're getting ink over the entire roller. Now each roller is a little bit different size, so you may need to ink it a little bit more, and you want to get a rather juicy kind of stamp pad. And then it will only stamp the shape up to a certain point, and then it will fade out because you ran out of ink. So you'll notice that I start out fairly dark and then it fades as it goes. But it's fun because you can do this in a very distinctive pattern, or you can just freeform all over your page, and there's a lot of different shapes. This particular shape is a feather, and there's several different feather styles in this particular roller. I'll link you to several options that you have, but this is a fun thing to use. And you could do multiple colors and fussy cut around. You could use this a lot of different ways. So I'm going to use a yellow feather, and we're going to add this to our layout. So to add it to the layout, I am going to trim it with a paper trimmer. And I want to create a thin strip. And then I'm going to trim off some of the more faded color at the top, so the darkest ones show. And then at the bottom here, I am going to create a pennant shape, so I just need to trim off enough that I can do that. And you can do this on cardstock, and you can do it with a different color. I could have done pink for the feathers. Lots of different options. Before I place this down, I'm going to add some twine. I'm using just some regular crochet twine, but I'll link you to some twine options. Colored twine also looks really pretty, and there are several different twine options in the two-piece store right now. And great sets. So if you like the look of twine, I suggest you invest in a set. That way you have several different colors to choose from. Baker's twine is also another option, as is ribbon. Tie it into a bow and trim off the excess pieces. Now we'll go ahead and add this stamped piece. I just love the look of stamping because I like creating my own embellishments. We'll slightly overlap that pink tab, and you can see how that stamping looks. So try to go with the ink that is just dark enough, or even really dark, so that it shows on whatever pattern paper or cardstock that you use. So for the title, I have cut two different title types, one from a bold block font and one from a more script font that I then welded together. We're going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of each of these. So I liked the combination of the two different fonts, and I'm going to set the block font right at the top of the purple block, so it looks like it's extending onto the rest of my page. And the title says Feeling Social, to represent the social network that I'm showing and sharing in this layout. So this is a fun way to combine fonts. You could also use letter stickers and accomplish the same thing. I always like the look of a title that has more than one style to it. Just get these all down. The other thing that I did is for the secondary part of the title, I went with a green that is in the collection that I use from Elle's Studio. So I carefully looked through my stash and then found a green that closely matches. You can see it's pretty close. And we will add this part of the title as well. And we're going to overlap them a little bit, because I like the look of that overlapped title. Then some embellishments I'm going to use are from the Elle Studio collection. I'm going to add this Love This Photo tab to the photo of me. We're going to overlap that date that was showing on that frame. And then I love, as I've done before, showing you how to take an embellishment and make it your own. And I wanted a tag, so I'm going to turn this into a tag by cutting off what I don't need. And then I'm going to simply attach it underneath the bow on this pink strip. So I've made it work for me. And I've just changed it. And then you can use the rest later. You could trim it off straight, or you can discard it. It's up to you and how much you want to stretch your supplies. All right, we're going to finish off the page with a few embellishments. This is from Jilly Bean Soup. They're these little cards, and they come in a package that includes several different words. We're going to add a arrow paper clip from Webster's Pages. We'll add that to the photo. And there's several different kinds of shaped paper clips. And then to bring in the feather shape that we used here, I have cut from vellum 2 vellum feathers using the Silhouette machine. And we're going to just attach them at the bottom because the adhesive will show through. Another way you could do this is you could use a sewing machine to stitch them in place. And I'm going to just cover them with the tag, so that you can't see that adhesive very well. But that helps bring in that feather theme that we were using before. We'll cover that up. And then I wanted to decorate a little bit of this part of the page because the white is looking a little bit glaring and kind of stands out a little bit more than I want it to. So I'm just going to add some flair to kind of tone it down a little bit. These are from a variety of different companies. So if you don't have these particular flares, you can use them or find others that do work. I just looked for shapes and themes that kind of matched home plans, a home wood grain things that match. So here you have a layout that focuses on one of the social media platforms that I use and gives a glimpse into me. So this is a great way to tell your stories. Again, check out all the storytelling projects from the Garden Girls this week, and be sure to subscribe to the Two Piece YouTube channel and click the notifications box in your settings so that you get emailed each time we upload one of these new videos each week. Thank you for joining me this week, and look for a new video next Friday.